Welcome to the Social Media Marketing Podcast, helping you navigate the social media jungle. And now, here's your host, Michael Stelzner.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining me for the Social Media Marketing Podcast, brought to you by socialmediaexaminer.com. I'm your host, Michael Stelzner, and this is the podcast for marketers and business owners who want to know what works with social media. I am super excited about today's show. I'm going to be joined by Molly Pittman, and we're going to explore Facebook Messenger ads and Facebook Messenger bots. This is very cutting edge marketing, and trust me, you might want to listen to this episode twice. By the way, if you want to reach me, you can email me at podcast@socialmediaexaminer.com. Let's now transition over to this week's brand new discovery.
Helping you stay alive in a social jungle, here's this week's survival tip.
This week I'm joined by Eric Fisher with a brand new discovery. What'd you find, Eric?
This week I found something that I am quite interested in. It's called Twim, and it is an iOS messenger that's built on Twitter DMs. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why do we need that? But as I played with this, I discovered that this is almost like the Twitter version of Facebook Messenger. So
okay, so hold on
pretty
a second.
Cool.
So how do you spell it?
So it's called Twim, and if you think of all the different things that used to pop up with a TW in front of them trying to name themselves slightly like Twitter, it's lowercase t, lowercase w, and then capital I and capital M. So it's like Twitter Instant Messenger, Twim.
All right, so this is an app you put on your phone, and it sounds like you'll get notifications the second someone DMs you. Is that correct?
That's correct. So for a lot of people, they don't want to get, direct messages for every single time someone app messages them, but they might want to, depending upon which Twitter account it is, get a notification that they have a Twitter direct message. I can think personally in terms of our Social Media Examiner Twitter account, where we offer customer service in that channel, that's actually a pretty cool feature to have. And again, not having it be something that's pinging or dinging, but has like the little red icon that shows you have one before you go into the app.
I see. So does it tell us a little bit more about what does it do?
So what this does is essentially it lifts out the Twitter direct message functionality to where you don't have to go into any kind of Twitter official app or any other Twitter apps themselves. You can literally go into a dedicated app to interact with your Twitter direct messages, and you can search for people by username in there to start a conversation. You can send them full messages with emojis, and you can block and unblock users. You can even, if again, this is an iOS only, so you could Siri messages with this. And you can have push notifications specifically for direct messages. You can even, again, reply to people using text or photos or maps or URLs. For me, it felt like the way that Facebook Messenger deals with Facebook private messages in its own unique.
Does it allow the notifications if you want with the lock screen on?
It does, yes.
Very cool. So if you are, and as far as we know, the standard Twitter app does not do this. Is that correct?
Correct. As far as I know, it's an all or nothing kind of a thing. And there's not as much nuance there when it comes to the official Twitter app or other Twitter apps that let you just get a direct message.
It'd be really cool if you could set like a time zone or a time range upon which you want the notifications to happen. It probably doesn't do that, is my guess, right? Like don't send me notifications after 7 o'clock at night or something like that.
Right. I'm thinking particularly for those social media managers who are heavily into providing customer service or interaction with their fans and friends in Twitter direct messages. This may be a really key new tool for you.
Very cool. And where do we find it? How much is it?
It's free, and you can find it at projectdent.com. That's project, DENT.com.
And say the name of the app one more time.
It's Twim, TWIM.
Awesome, Eric. Thanks for bringing us that brand new discovery.
You're welcome.
Let's move on over to that interview with Molly Pittman.
To help simplify your social safari, here's this week's special guest.
This week, I'm excited to be joined by Molly Pittman. If you don't know who Molly is, she's the Vice President of Marketing at Digital Marketer. She specializes in customer acquisition and teaches regularly for Digital Marketer Engage, which is the membership community at Digital Marketer. Molly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
So today, Molly and I are going to explore Facebook Messenger, Messenger ads, Messenger bots, and how you can benefit from all this fun stuff, this what I'm going to call frontier stuff. So, Molly, tell me, how'd you even get involved with Messenger and Messenger ads? What's the story there?
Yeah, so like most things, I was messing around in our Facebook ad account and setting up an ad, and I noticed this new placement, and it said Messenger, and I knew that it was in the works through our partner manager at Facebook, but I didn't know when it was going to release. So I saw it was there inside of Ads Manager, and I immediately started playing with it like a child with a new toy.
How long ago was this?
This was in November
of 2016.
16, yes.
So what was your first experience like?
It was exciting. I feel like Messenger isn't just a new Facebook feature, right? You know, we hear every day Facebook rolled out something new. Our pages look different, or they've added a new, audience inside of Ads Manager. But this was exciting because it's totally new. It's a new channel, right? It's not just a new feature. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're going to dig into a whole bunch of details and get a chance to understand more about how you at Digital Marketer have been using it. But before we get into that, why don't you make the case as to why someone listening might want to consider Messenger ads?
Absolutely. Over 1 billion people use Facebook Messenger. And I think we don't think about the usage that these chat apps have. Text messaging is obviously very popular, and Facebook Messenger is a free and easy way to connect with friends, family, colleagues, whomever you would like to chat with on Facebook. So a lot of people are using this channel to communicate. And now we have the opportunity to use it for marketing purposes, to use it to connect with prospects and customers. So I think the opportunities here are really endless. Initial tests that we've run have shown very good results in terms of, sending sponsored messages, which we'll talk about. The open rate is really high. The consumption is really high. And it's something that people expect now. Just to tell you a little story, a few months ago, I was driving down the road in Austin, and I saw a new apartment complex that was being built, and I saw the name and I was interested. So immediately I went to their Facebook page, and I noticed that they had the, message us button there below their cover photo. And I started messaging with the complex, and they were, almost instantaneous, right? Responding to me and having this conversation. And every step of the customer journey that I had with that apartment complex was done through Facebook Messenger. And the reason it was done through Facebook Messenger is because that was the easiest mode of communication for me, right? And I know I'm not the only one. Again, over 1 billion people are using this channel for communication. So I think as brands and companies, for us to take advantage of this channel, because it's the place where our customers want to have conversations, is very beneficial.
The couple thoughts coming to mind. I remember many years ago predicting that Facebook direct messages, I think we called them back in the day, we're going to replace email, because you didn't have to remember what someone's email address was. You just typed in their name. And, since you're connected with them, and I would say it has. And when you couple that, a lot of people find it easier to just go ahead and send a Facebook message than an email, with the fact that Facebook allows you to embed a message button on your website so that you can communicate directly with them. I can't remember exactly what it says, but I think it says message us or FB message us or something like that. And then when you couple in some of the innovations we've seen from Facebook in the last couple of months, for example, something as innocuous as video games. I remember playing Galaga and Pac-Man, which are like, 80s era video games, inside of Messenger. And I thought to myself, why? And the more I began to think about this, I think what Zuckerberg is doing is he's trying to create a different ecosystem where people become dependent on it, or it's a place that they go to get, entertained, Facebook group video chat, being able to video chat with up to 50 people. They're rolling out features to get their users acclimated to doing many different kinds of behaviors inside of Messenger. And Facebook's smart. They know that if they can get people using the app on a regular basis, then they can open it up as a new ad revenue platform.
Absolutely. The people are using it, and that's what makes any media or medium a good place to buy ads.
Do you think what's your prediction? I mean, what's your thoughts on Messenger ads? Do you think this is like the next email?
I would say it's similar to email. Email, in my opinion, will always be powerful, at least for the next 5 years. I don't think it replaces it. I think it's the most similar mode of communication that we have seen to email, right? And it's the most similar to email. But I would almost argue that it's going to be better than email, again, because people have been trained to have these quick, fast, instantaneous conversations on Facebook Messenger. Some of my emails I don't respond to for 3, 4, 5 days because it's the nature of email. But with Facebook Messenger, again, you're having that live chat component. So I think that's where the benefit lies. And of course, I think that Facebook is ensuring that marketers don't ruin this new product for everyone, right? Which is beautiful, and I appreciate it. But I think that the businesses that do this right will absolutely benefit, again, because it's where the people are, and it's where a big portion of people like to have their conversations.
If we think about this from a marketing perspective, one of the beautiful things about Messenger is they do everything in their power to make sure you turn notifications on, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's push notifications right on your phone.
Exactly. You don't get that. You don't get that with email, or if you do, you turn it off after the first hour. So,
totally. Yeah.
So this is pretty intriguing. So let's talk about what are Facebook Messenger ads. Kind of, explain it to us, because it's obviously different than a regular Facebook ad. So what is it exactly?
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that's where the confusion is coming for most people right now. They're like, Molly, there's so much to this, which is true. There are really two types of Facebook Messenger ads. So the first one is a destination ad. So this ad would appear in your news feed like any other ad. You could use a video, carousel, regular image. It looks like a normal link ad. But when you click, it actually opens a message with that particular Facebook page. So you're clicking on the ad, but it's opening a message where usually you would be sent, to a website, or a canvas would open. A message is opening, which, you can pre-populate, of course, a welcome message to the prospect, but an actual conversation can happen right then and there live.
Give us an example, because I'm having a hard time maybe understanding what this.
Absolutely. So the first test we ran, it was simple. It was an ad, and it just said, do you have questions about how digital marketer can help grow your business? We love to chat. When you click on that, it opens right into a message, and someone might type.
It's like hitting a reply in an email, right?
Absolutely. It's like, you start the conversation, not quite sure if this would work for a brick and mortar business, right? And then someone on our customer care team is on the other side having a live conversation with this person. And you can target anyone with destination ads. That's
why
the
do they call
it
it destination? It's such a confusing name, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's because when you're setting up the ad, when you're setting up the campaign at the ad level, it says destination. So your destination would either be a website, a mobile app, or a message. So the destination of your ad, right, where you're going to send the traffic is inside of Messenger. So I think that's why it's called that.
Okay, so so if I use a destination ad, and I sent that ad to you, Molly, what would you see and where would you see it?
Right. So I would see it in my newsfeed like any other ad.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
you could target anyone, and it would show up in your newsfeed just like, any Facebook ad that you see. It's just when you click on it, instead of going to someone's website, that little chat box opens in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, interesting. So when you're on Facebook, you will see it in your newsfeed, and when you click on it, it will pop open into Messenger. Is that the idea?
Absolutely. Yes. So it's driving traffic right to Messenger instead of off of the platform, onto your website.
Okay, cool. And what's the other one? Because we're going to obviously dig into some use cases here, but what's the? You said there was two, right?
Right. And like I said, that one, you can target anyone. So you could target your custom audiences. You could use interest targeting. That's totally open. The opportunities are endless with the destination ads. The other are sponsored messages. So these are more like email. So when you send a sponsored message, it's actually appearing in people's Messenger inbox, right? It shows up just like, if Mike, you were to send me a message right now, it would appear there at the top of my inbox. It shows up right there.
But it's from the brand, not the person, right?
Exactly. But it's from the brand. But you can only send sponsored messages to people who have messaged your page in the past. So that's what's, keeping this really under control so that people aren't just spamming everyone's Facebook inboxes, right? You have to have messaged the page in the past, and you can unsubscribe from messages from that brand just like email. So think about destination ad just like a normal Facebook ad, except for it's driving to a Facebook message instead of to your website. And then this sponsored message is appearing in your inbox just like an email would.
Interesting. And I would imagine, when you use Messenger, how you have two different categories. One is from your friends, and one is I forget what it is, but it's hidden under one of the other areas. I would imagine this ad gets right into the main inbox. Is that kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right into the main inbox. And the first 4 tests that we've run sending sponsored messages, we've seen open rates over 80%, right? So email, you might get a 10% open rate, 15% open rate. We're seeing 80% open rates, which is incredible and just shows how many people are using Facebook Messenger and how quickly they're reacting.
That's insane. So let's talk about like in what cases would we want to use a destination ad? Let's talk through a couple scenarios.
Absolutely. I think that this will be an interesting ad type for most people. Destination ads, the benefit is that you can drive your subscribers, right? So you could use destination ads to start conversations so that you can build that, subscriber list to send sponsored messages. Does that make sense? It's kind of like building an email list, right? So you run traffic to generate those leads so that you can email them. I think some people will try to use them for that.
Wait, hold on. Before we go deeper, I want to just be clear. So you mentioned a destination ad can go to any audience, right? So it could be our fans. It could be a custom audience of people that visit our website. It could be a email
interest
list.
Targeting, anything.
Yeah, all those things. So what we could do is we could send them a message that would get them to message us.
Right.
And the reason we would want to do that might be maybe we have a sales team, right, that's going to help close a sale. Or maybe we're going to build up a list of people that we could ultimately send a sponsored message to. Is that what I hear you saying?
Exactly. So, for example, Social Media Examiner with your State of the Industry report, you could run an ad in people's news feeds that says, hey, social media is important. Don't you want to stay up to date? Download our industry report. When they click on that ad, it could go right into a Facebook message where you immediately deliver that document to them, right? So they're getting the deliverable without sending them over to your website to have them opt in and go through all of that fun stuff. You're immediately delivering it inside of the message. And then, yes, if you had a sales team or a person that can man the chat, then they could, ask this person questions. Hey, do you have any questions about this industry report? Tell me about your business, right? Are you interested in attending Social Media World or, joining our group or, whatever the end goal is there. But that destination ad, the goal, is obviously to build the subscribers so that you can send the sponsored messages, but you can also use it to drive sales conversations. Again, remembering how reactive people are on this platform. So for example, we've been using it really down further into our customer journey because we've realized if we target 500,000 people to start a Facebook Messenger conversation, that's going to be incredible volume. And we can't talk to all of those people and give them all a good experience, right? So we've started really deeper into our customer journey. So for example, if someone visits a sales page for one of our products, but they don't buy, then we're going to create a custom audience that says, okay, people that visited this sales page but didn't visit the thank you page. So people that didn't purchase. And then an ad will show up in their newsfeed. And it's, hey, I noticed you didn't buy. Just wanted to know if you had any questions that we could answer. Click here to talk to one of our specialists. That opens in a message, and someone from our customer care team can have a conversation to help overcome any doubts that person might have had, any objections they might have had to purchase. Very similar to live chat on a website, but you're in a channel where that person always is, right? They're going to leave.
Let's be clear. You as a marketer have no clue who that person is, but Facebook knows.
Oh, totally.
That's the power here, right? It's like, wow, you can now communicate with people that are anonymous in some regards.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike, I've also seen there's a guy I was coaching the other day, and he has a local business, and they do everything from landscaping to roofing, painting. They're a home improvement company. And so they were running a destination ad in their local area asking, if you could fix one thing about your home, what would it be? Well, people would message and say, I would update my curtains or I would fix my landscaping. Well, that led to an ideal sales conversation for that company because they knew what that person wanted to improve about their home. Well, the conversation is easy from there, right? Hey, we happen to do that. What if we, came in and took a look, came out there on Tuesday to take a look? So I think the key here with the destination ads is not to use them just to build this subscriber list, but use them to use the ads to start a conversation that's beneficial to your customer, right? You don't just want it to be, hey, let's talk about new and creative ways for you to give me money. You want it to be beneficial to the customer. Help them when you're having a conversation or deliver something like the PDF example that we were talking about earlier. Or just make sure that you're only targeting people that you really want to talk about, that are really further down your customer journey, that need those extra questions answered about your product or your service.
Let me ask a couple questions here. First thing is cost. How do these messenger ads price out against some of the other ads in your experience?
That's a great question. So I'm finding that the destination ads are about the same cost as any other ad. Because really you're just paying for people to click on that initial ad. So it looks and feels exactly like any other ad. I'm seeing prices around the same as any other campaigns that we're running. For the sponsored messages, if you do send them through Facebook, then you're going to pay to send those messages, right? Because it's another ad campaign. But there is a tool that we'll talk about later in this episode that you can pay a monthly fee and send messages out from that platform. So you're not paying like a impression basis or however they're going to charge.
So just to be clear, with the destination ads, and the destination is a message in Messenger, right. You're paying for every time someone clicks, whether they actually send you a message or not, right?
I'll set up a basically clicks to website campaign on Facebook. And instead of giving Facebook a URL to send the traffic to, I just tell them to send it to us in Messenger.
Very cool. The next question is, let's say we got 100 people to message us. Does it create like a custom audience that we can ultimately send those sponsor messages to, or how does that work? Because that's a little confusing to me.
Yeah, so Facebook is creating an audience of people who have messaged your page in the past. So when you go to select Messenger as a placement, so that's what you would do to set up a sponsored message. At the ad set level, the placements are, Facebook, Instagram. You would just select Messenger. So Facebook's automatically updating that audience for you. You can't even see it, or I haven't found it at least.
Do you know how big it is, though? Does it tell you how big it is or no?
I haven't found a way to figure that out. Through the third-party tool we're going to talk about, I can see how big our subscriber list is, but I haven't seen it inside of the Facebook platform yet. I'm sure it's coming.
I wonder, do you think they're going to provide any granularity, like, for example, only message those who've messaged us in the last period of time, or like I'm thinking about tagging. I mean, do you think,
totally.
Is that the kind of stuff it really can't do right now, but it's likely going to be doing? Or can you actually say, message everyone who's messaged us in the last week?
Right. From what I've found, there's no way to do that inside of the platform, but I'm sure it's coming.
Got it. So, sponsored messages, let's just talk about that for a second. So what is that ultimately? When you send a sponsored message ad, how is that different than a newsfeed ad as far as the content? Can it be all text? Can you put images in there? Can you put multiple links, or is it very restrained? What's been your experience?
So your sponsored messages, the ones that are going to show up in their inbox, you can include one link and one image. As far as I've found, the text can be as long as you would like. So I try to make those sponsored messages sound very friendly because, again, they're used to getting messages from friends and family inside of their Facebook Messenger inbox.
So informal, not like a long email or anything.
Absolutely. I try to write them very informally and to give a benefit. So, for example, I sent out a sponsored message to let people know that we were going to raise the price of tickets to our annual event. And I said, because you're a subscriber and you've messaged us in the past, I would like to give you a coupon code to save $500 off of your ticket. So I always try to give them, to make it a benefit for them to be a subscriber for us on Messenger. And yeah, like you said, to write the message just like I would write to a friend. Mm.
And since you don't know how big the audience is that you're sending to, how do you have any idea what to budget for something like that? I mean,
you're right. Well, so for the sponsored messages, we're sending those out through a third-party tool that we're paying $10 a month to.
So let's get into that then.
Yeah.
Let's get into that. Unless there was anything I forgot. I mean, was there anything else that?
No, that's perfect, Mike.
Okay, let's transition right into that. So we're talking about bots now, right? So talk to us about. Before we get into the tool itself, explain to everyone what a messenger bot is and kind of what it can do for you.
Yeah, so we use a tool called ManyChat, ManyChat.com. And essentially, it is a bot. And, there are a lot of bot services out there. Bots can be very useful, especially to greet someone who has just messaged your page or to answer frequently asked questions. This tool is not only a bot, though, which is cool. It integrates with everything Facebook Messenger. So what we really use the tool for is sending out those sponsored messages. So when you log into ManyChat, it immediately shows your subscriber list. So I can see how many people have subscribed to our page, their name, when they subscribed. I can unsubscribe them. And it also allows us to send out the sponsored messages. And it's $10 a month. That increases depending on how many contacts you have, but it's not expensive for what you get. It's also cool. You can set up autoresponders. So just like you would with email, I could say, okay, I want everyone who messages our page asking about this social media industry report, I want to follow up with them for 2 weeks. And on day 3, I want to send this message. On day 5, I want to send this message. So you can set up these little sequences too, which are really, really cool. So there's a lot of options in there that go way beyond the bot. But for me, the most powerful is the ability to send those sponsored messages for such a low price. And they also have some cool features in there that Facebook doesn't have. So you can actually choose to, when you're sending the sponsored message, yes, I want to send a push notification. Yes, I want it to make a noise, right? What we were talking about earlier. Or no, this is just a message about content. I want it to be quiet, and it will just be there the next time they open their inbox. So there's a lot of settings that are really cool inside of ManyChat that make it really, really helpful. And then also the tagging that you were talking about that I do think I hope Facebook will eventually have, but you can go in and tag people based off of, what they're interested in, and then send your sponsored messages to those groups of people.
Very, very intriguing. So what it sounds like is this bot somehow is tapped into the Messenger API, assuming there is one, and it's allowing you to automate a lot of manual procedures, right? And I don't even know if Facebook would normally provide any of this detail to just a human being who's doing this. So this is unbelievably powerful. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I also think, though, that bots are more than that. And I've even messed around with yours. I think it can ask questions and give you multiple responses, right? I mean, didn't you?
Yeah.
Talk about how you guys actually used it, because I think the use case is going to be really valuable for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually sent out a good old regular old email, which another cool tip is that ManyChat also gives you a link that if someone clicks on the link, it immediately goes to Facebook, and as long as they're logged in, it opens a message with that brand. So like you were talking about earlier, Mike, having a button on your site that says Facebook message my page, it's the same thing. It's just a unique URL. So we put that URL into an email, and the email was about our event, Traffic and Conversion Summit. And the email asked people to click the link, and it was basically, are you considering coming to Traffic and Conversion Summit? See if it's right for you. And when they clicked the link, it opened a message, and the bot started talking to them about our event. And we just made it hilarious. And it was basically a logic statement. And it said, are you interested in marketing, right? And it was like, hell yeah, or hell no. And depending on how they answered these different questions, it would ask, well, do you love sunny San Diego?
Wait, hold on. Do you click on it, or do you actually have to type something in?
You can click
when you're the user. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are 2 buttons, either the yes or the no. You can add other buttons too, but you can also type back. So it's whatever they want to do. But they're interacting with this bot, and depending on how they answered all of these questions, it would either say, yes, you should attend TNC, or no, you shouldn't. So that was a really fun thing that we did. But we did come out in the email and say, this is a bot, right? People weren't expecting to talk to a live human on the other end.
But that's pretty novel, right? I mean, I would imagine you could say, try out our bot, right?
Totally. And I do think I love bots, and I think they're great to automate, welcoming people and guiding them through any issues, or maybe asking 2 or 3 questions to tee up a sales conversation for a real human. I think my fear is that people are going to expect to automate their entire sales process through a bot, or their entire process, whatever it is. And they're losing the fact that people are on this platform because they want quick responses, right? And a lot of times they really just want to talk to a human. So there's so much fun and interesting and cool stuff that can be done with a bot. I think it just goes hand in hand with having real human contact there too.
So let's just say that you are using Facebook Messenger for customer support on top of all this. How does it keep the bot conversation separate from everything else from a management perspective?
So ManyChat is all about keywords. So we told ManyChat to start that sequence, is what it's called, a sequence about Traffic and Conversion Summit when someone mentions the hashtag TCS 2017. And if you go to our page, we actually turned it off, but I'm sure it will be on again next year. But once they, typed in that keyword, that triggered this whole, fun bot conversation.
But would the conversation then be kind of stored separately? I mean, is it easy to manage, or does it become like, hundreds of bot conversations and you got to go find the ones that actually need human interaction? I'm just trying to understand, is it an email inbox with a bazillion emails and you've got to search through the automated ones to find the non-automated ones? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Absolutely. It can definitely be a mess. And I think that's an optimization point on Facebook's end, in terms of being able to have multiple people having conversations, inside of the platform.
Right.
There's not an easy way to sort them out. But our, awesome people just go through and they would follow up even with the automated people, hey, I saw you played with our bot. I hope it was fun. I'm a real person. My name's Michelle. Do you have any questions? Right.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, this ManyChat software or whatever, it sounds like it's browser based. Is that correct? It's just, and it runs on whatever browser. And assuming that's true, these logic trees or whatever, can you just set up a series of if they say this, then go down this path, and if they say this, go down this path? Is that how it works as far as training it?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're all sequences, and you can basically say if someone says this, do this, right? If someone does this, do this. And it's all based off of keywords.
Because I've messed around with your bot, I did have a few weeks after I'd communicated with it, it sent me a message and just asked me an open-ended question. What was the strategy to that? Or what is a strategy to doing something like that?
Yeah, so a lot of times with our sales team, we're trying to drive conversations. So, we're not always wanting to send someone to a sales page to buy. We realize people need to ask questions and have conversations. So, yeah, I'll send out a question sometimes to our subscriber list just to drum up conversation, to learn more about our people and to see how we can help.
Mm. What have you learned about the combination of the bot and the Facebook Messenger? Is there some things that you've learned that we should avoid? Have you gotten any negative feedback? I'm just curious, what's been your experience?
I think most people love it, just to see something new, right? And the innovation, and it's fun. There are some people that don't like it. They don't want ads inside of their Facebook Messenger inbox. And I totally understand. And they get upset. It's just like people unsubscribing from an email list. So that's why it's great that there's an unsubscribe feature, easy to please those people. And if you don't want, if you don't want ads in your inbox, it's easy to avoid.
How has this worked for you guys? I mean, have you seen a return on the? I mean, obviously, it's not a big investment from the. Right. I could see you spending quite a bit on the destination ads to build up the. I mean, that's probably where the money needs to go. Am I right? On these destination ads to build up the quote unquote list, if you will, that you can ultimately use something like a bot to communicate
Absolutely.
With for next to nothing.
Yeah. Has it worked for us? Absolutely. But we're still figuring it out. The first test we ran just to people on our email list as a custom audience, we had a 500% ROI. Just, hey, do you have questions about how we can help your business? I think that the key here is strategy. This isn't just a new feature that's going to make your current ads better. There needs to be a strategy behind it. There needs to be a sales strategy. Back to the guy that owns the landscaping company, he knew the one question that he could ask to drive sales conversations was, what's the one thing you would fix about your home? Right? He's not saying, hey, let me know your favorite color so I can add you to my subscriber list, right?
Right.
So it's really about being strategic and thinking, how can I serve my audience? what questions do they have? How can I start this conversation? Do I have the manpower to answer these messages? And that's why I recommend people starting further down their customer journey, not just sending out running an ad to, 500,000 people, but really starting with a small group of people that you can retarget, that already know your brand, that if you screw it up, it's okay. There has to be somebody on the other side, in my opinion, to talk to these people, because that's what they expect.
Well, first of all, this is absolutely fascinating, and these are early days, right? I mean, this is very, very, very early days for what will likely be a very big and important new medium for marketers, which is, Facebook Messenger. I mean, I can't think of an app that is used by more Americans than Facebook. And most of them are on Messenger. So I think this is a huge opportunity for anyone, not just in America, but all over the world, to communicate with people that are already actively on Facebook. My warning is, don't ruin it, fellow marketers, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, luckily Facebook has in a way prevented that because the sponsored messages can only go to people who have messaged you. But yes, this is not a method to make $1 million tomorrow, right? This is just another line of communication with your people, and to have conversations, which I think is what marketing's about. How can you relate to these people? How can you talk to them? How can you help them? And we're now able to leverage one of the most active modes of communication in the world to do so. So I think we are all pretty lucky.
Well, Molly, first of all, thank you so much for opening our eyes to this platform. And I know that a lot of marketers are going to start either telling someone on their team, hey, look into this, or they're going to start digging into this, because I think this is going to be a big deal. I think This is going to be a huge deal. And we live in a mobile world, and this is a great way for you to connect with people that appears to be a lot more economical than a lot of the other options that are out there. So, Molly, why don't you tell everybody where they can discover more about you and all the great things you've got going on over at Digital Marketer?
Yeah, digitalmarketer.com. Definitely listen to our podcast. Mike was on a few weeks ago, so definitely check out that episode. But
yeah, mention the name of the podcast.
Perpetual Traffic.
Perpetual Traffic. Cool.
Yeah, so digitalmarketer.com. There's lots of free information there.
Awesome. Molly Pittman, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge with us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I hope you found a lot of value in today's episode. This, like I mentioned, is very cutting edge. I strongly encourage you to try it out, see if it'll work for your business. If there was anything we mentioned and you didn't catch it, check out socialmediaexaminer.com/242. That'll take you to all the notes. Also, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button. And if you've been around for a while, could you consider giving us a rating and a review? socialmediaexaminer.com/iTunes is the best way to do that. This brings us to the end of yet another episode of the Social Media Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Stelzner. I'll be back with you in the driver's seat next week. I hope you make the absolute best out of your day, and may social media continue to change your world.
The Social Media Marketing Podcast is a production of Social Media Examiner.